Hello, everyone. Fifth Bridge Sports back with another video. Last week we did a segment on top 10 NBA players that are relevant to the rest of the season. Now we're doing top rookies for remainder of the season for fantasy basketball. So let's get started.
All right, so we'll start off with number 10 here. Batu, you want to pronounce the name?
Alperen Sengun.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
So he's coming off the bench in Houston. I do think as we get later in the season, he could kind of find his way in the starting lineup. He can kind of do it all, get you points, rebounds, and assists. I think he's just a quality player with an opportunity to really develop that role still.
For sure. Like
I
currently,
agree with the.
no, I was just gonna say he's averaging almost a block and a steal per game, which is pretty impressive. We're fairly deep into the season now.
Totally, yeah.
With
Batu,
like
anything to
some, yeah, with like some of the bench drama you guys might have heard happening in Houston Rockets.
add?
Sengun is not a big enough player to care about that, so he'll just start. He'll try his best to get play time, and that is a benefit. Like he's not a big enough player to tell the coach, "I don't care what you're doing." He'll play as much as he can, and this is a big contribution to him as a player and to your fantasy because he'll get the points, he'll get the minutes, and he'll get the points for you.
For sure. So, yeah, we'll move on to our next one here. So we have his teammate, Jalen Green. So I think Jalen Green, so far in the season, maybe he's kind of been a somewhat disappointing rookie to this point. He's missed some games, hasn't really produced to the value everyone kind of hoped he would so far. With that being said, he does have some of those moments and games where he really throws out. So because of that, as we move deeper in the season, hopefully he finds a rhythm and really could be beneficial to being on someone's fantasy team.
Yeah, people were really high on Jalen Green before the season started. He was actually ranked 95,
Mhm.
so that's like he was in the top 100. There were very big expectations, and he's averaging 15 and a half points, 3 boards, 2 assists.
Oh, for sure. He's a high volume shot guy for sure. All right, let's move on. So we'll move on to number 8, and I'll let Batu pronounce another Turkish name.
We got Omer Yurtseven, and I'll just talk about him a little bit too. We talked about him in our viewer ad videos in the past 2 weeks, and he is a great addition. He was, I'm pretty sure, as surprised as he was to Eric Spoelstra as to all the fantasy managers out there. He's been doing exceptional to the point that he might be added into the rotation. And that's good for him, great, and that's really good for you because if you have him on your team, he will, you know, get a lot of minutes, get a lot of points for you. And in our other video, we said that he's had 7 consecutive 30-plus fantasy point games, and that is, as fantasy managers, we know that is a very impressive performance to keep it that consistent. So pick him up as soon as possible.
Yeah, the Heat really found a hidden gem with Omer, so good player.
Yeah, he's almost like he's a fantasy monster. Like he's roughly a point per minute fantasy player. Seeing with him getting like 30, 35 minutes, he's putting up 30, 40 like fantasy points. Like it trends.
For sure. All right, so we'll move on to number 7 on our list. So we got Chris Duarte here. He started off the season super strong, has kind of came down a little bit since that point. Even with that, there was some news a few weeks ago that Indiana maybe wanted to move towards a rebuilding, starting to kind of reset things. If we see, someone like Sabonis get traded as we approach the deadline, that would really open the opportunities for the young guys such as Duarte to really start to blossom. So I think he does have a good chance to have a strong remainder.
Fantasy team. I am on my fantasy team, and like Aiden said, he started off very strong. I'm like, whoa, where did this guy come from? And now he's putting more like around 25 to 35 range, with more closer to 25 fantasy points, which is not bad. But I mean, he's a rookie, so the best he can get.
All right, so we'll go to number 6. Number 6,
Your boy.
Herb Jones. He's my boy, one of my players on the New Orleans Pelicans. He's one of our guys we've had on our waiver ads a number of times at this point. But yeah, he's just been a great rookie. He's in the starting lineup, has been for most of the season at this point. Among rookies, he's essentially pretty close to leading all rookies in steals and blocks at this point. So defensively, he's giving you just monster numbers. And offensively, he has had to kind of start to come around to. I think over December, he averaged, 12 points a game, some good rebounds, and a couple assists there too. So when you're getting that offensive and rebound output in addition to the defensive numbers, as long as, he keeps this role, and it's kind of looking like he will with no certainty around Zion Williamson. So good player.
He plays for the Pelicans. Come on, man. What else can we say about it?
I think you're a little bit higher on Herb Jones than I am, but I looked into his defensive numbers, and a steal and a half per game. That's pretty good. Like I have no words for that. I don't know any players that put that up for a season.
Yeah, he's a defensive monster for a rookie.
Maybe Jimmy Butler. I know he's got a pretty high steal rate.
But number 5, we have Josh Giddey, rookie on the Thunder. A couple days or in the last week, I think we had a game where he became the youngest player ever to have a triple-double in a game. But yeah, he's on the Thunder who are struggling, and so there's no shortage of minutes and opportunities for him at this point. So as he kind of gets his groove and gets going, maybe we'll see more triple doubles and just really big fantasy numbers for him.
Yeah, he's averaging 31 fantasy points per game right now. Like those are top 100 numbers. That's pretty solid for a rookie, especially.
I mean, mostly you know him as Josh Giddey. He's a big TikTok guy, and just adds to his style. Watching him play, actually, he's a very small guy. Not height, but he's a small guy. He can get pushed around easily. He's a very shifted player, though. He kind of has kind of Luka Doncic vibes. He makes good passes, kind of the difficult passes, thread in the needle type of thing, and that can really add up in assists. And when a guy can make those assists, he can also score. So
all right, number 4, we got the number 1 draft pick, Cade Cunningham. So he started off the season with some injuries, kind of resulting in some other rookies getting a leg up on him. But, since coming back from injury, he started to find a good groove. And, he's a point guard, got good height so he can get those rebounds, been scoring, has the opportunity to give you good assist numbers as well. Strong player, and I expect a big...
Yeah, here's another player up there in steals at 1.3 per game. He's averaging 32 fantasy points per game. It's good enough to get him ranked 64th right now.
Yeah, I expect it to climb too as it goes. So, all right, number 3, we have Scottie Barnes. So, yeah, a lot of people were surprised when the Raptors took him over Jalen Suggs in the draft, but looking back, it looks like they made a really good decision with Scottie Barnes. So, he's been a really good player so far, close to the top in the Rookie of the Year race so far. Been really doing it all around and stuff in the stat sheet in all categories. So. Yeah, can't really go wrong with having Scottie Barnes on your team, and should have a good remainder of the... All right, number 2, we got Franz Wagner, and I know he's on Batu's fantasy team, so I'll let Batu go on a bit of a rant about him.
I absolutely love this guy. No rant, just a big gas. He is just a lot of love. He's leading the rookies, or he's in top 5 in a lot of the rookie categories, or a lot of the stat categories amongst the rookies. And we have mentioned it before, he has gotten unlucky with being on a bad team, but he is producing. He doesn't let that get to him. He is basically a point guard, like a respectable point guard. I don't think that's his position. That's actually kind of sad. Yeah, point guard, shooting guard. Like, he is a really good, respectable guard now. He is pushing top 50 in NBA in the first year he has played. And that is just, speaks a lot to him, because you look at all these guys who's been in the league forever and they're not performing as well. You look at the Orlando Magic roster and they've had a lot more experience than him, but Franz Wagner is just outdoing him. So kudos to the guy. Great fantasy addition.
Yeah, out of him and Jalen Suggs, I really thought Jalen Suggs would have been the rookie everyone was talking about on Orlando. But all right, so number 1 fantasy rookie for the remainder of the year, we have Evan Mobley. If you've watched Evan Mobley or seen some of his stats, this shouldn't come as a surprise. He's just kind of been a monster for the Cavs, and has been looking like a real steal for them at number 3 in the draft. So yeah, great player. I expect good things from him. Defensively, he's been able to get lots of blocks, put some steals up, points and rebounds too. Maybe Alex can say what he's averaging for those, but I think he's in the high 30s, low 40s in most of his fantasy games. So yeah, I think he'll he'll probably run away with the best fantasy rookie for the rest of the year.
Yeah, Mobley's another one of those players that's pushing the top 50. He's averaging close to 2 blocks a game and 0.8 steals. Those are some monster numbers right there. Almost 35 fantasy points a game. Like I wish I drafted this guy. Like those are very high numbers. I could see him. I see him making a pretty solid case for Rookie of the Year.
I think so. Yeah, I think he'll be definitely up there with a couple of other names on this list. He has a really good chance at it.
He's playing on the Cavs too, who have put together a pretty solid run. And I think he's like a big part of that.
For sure. But yeah, with that brings us to the end of our list for top 10 rookies for the remainder of the fantasy year. Comment down below if there's anyone you think we missed, slept on maybe. But otherwise, thanks for watching the video, everyone.